helping a friend who's suffering with depression or anxiety or whatever, you don't ever have to experience those things in order to help them out, you know, like, and I think that that's kind of a misconception a lot of people have. They're like, oh, well, I've never, you know, gone through that kind of stuff, so I can't relate, so I'm just not going to try. I don't think that's the right way to think about it at all. I think that in our lives, we're called to empathize with people, even if we don't yet know exactly what it's like. And it really just takes 2 seconds to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I think people show their love and they show their support differently. Some people, you know, kind of are inclined to be really practical, and they might not be, you know, inclined to be discussing emotions or discussing it. And it might make them uncomfortable, but that's okay, because you can always do something. I mean, you really can always do something, whether it's like offering a person, you know, a ride to counseling, or, you know, just kind of going out of your way to do something sweet, like, and thoughtful, to just let them know that you're supporting them. For other people, I think it's just like they are really good at listening, and they can just listen, and they might not give you any advice, they might not encourage you, and still, by sitting there and listening to you, they're going to help you a lot. You don't have to be a therapist. Like, as a friend, you don't have to be a therapist. You don't have to fix your friend's problems. You literally just show support in the way that you know how. I don't think it's like one thing a person needs when they're struggling. I think it's a lot of things. I think people get caught up a lot in, okay, this is what you don't say, and this is what you do say. When you're going through stuff, you know, whether it's like a mental issue or loss or whatever, like, there's not really a list of things that you should say and you shouldn't say. When you're really trying to say the right thing, the other person knows that you're really trying to say the right thing. The only thing I like try to be careful of is like encouraging someone when clearly it's not the right time, you know. And I think sometimes we are uncomfortable listening to other people's feelings, so we kind of want to offer like a little quip or like a Bible verse or like some advice or something, and I don't think that is helpful. I think sometimes that can be kind of damaging. And I remember when people would try to encourage me when I was really kind of in a dark place, I understood where they were coming from, and I appreciated the sentiment, but it really kind of just hurt more than anything, because they obviously were not comfortable enough listening to like my feelings or whatever, and they wanted to fix it as quickly as they could so they could kind of back away and they could get out of it. And a lot of the times when I don't know what someone's going through, I just try to put myself like in their shoes, you know, like, okay, what exactly would I feel like if this had happened to me, or if this was something that was going on in my life. And it doesn't take long to kind of start piecing things together, like, okay, I wouldn't want to hear this, or like, I would want to hear this, you know, like, you kind of think, what would be the most helpful thing for me to hear right now, or not to hear right now. When people say things like, oh, you should snap out of it, when it's some issue that someone's gonna need counseling to snap out of, or I think in a lot of cases, you know, more like medical assistance to snap out of, you know, the effects of it are so miserable sometimes, and it steals your life in a lot of ways. So if they had a choice to snap out of it, you know, they already would have. And it's very, very difficult to know what it's like until you've been through it. It didn't take a fresh perspective to fix whatever issue I was going through. It took a lot of people. It took support from my parents and from my friends and from therapists and from, you know, doctors. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the medical community, because it was so debilitating. It was so debilitating. And you don't feel like yourself. You really don't feel like yourself. And another thing people say sometimes too is like, oh, if you go on, it's kind of a dicey issue, but if you go on medication, you won't really be like yourself anymore. Like, it's gonna change kind of the structure of your brain. But I mean, it can't do that. And I found that when I went on like pharmaceutical help, that like I felt pieces of myself coming back. Like, I felt pieces of my personality kind of coming back that I had forgotten were there, because it had just been so long, you know. Like, I would cry at everything, or I would like laugh at everything. And it had been so long since I had all those feelings, but I know I have all those feelings. But it wasn't until like a lot of people came around me and helped me, and I got the help that I needed, did I even like rediscover that that was a part of who I was. It was like I could breathe again. It was really amazing. You know, when your roommate or your best friend or whatever, if they're hurting and if they have experienced something bad has happened to them, or if they're going through something, if they're struggling with a mental issue like depression or anxiety or whatever, it can be really like kind of scary because you don't know if you're going to say the wrong thing. But I can almost guarantee you that when someone's going through something really hard, their little like I'm ready to be offended antenna isn't really up. You know, they probably just want you to be you. They probably just want you to be their friend. And they're not criticizing every response that you have. You know, they're not like, okay, I'm hurting, like let me criticize what you're gonna say to me right now. So there's a lot less to worry about, I think, than people like think initially sometimes. I mean, I don't know what to say. You know, if someone's telling me that they're struggling with depression, I have no idea most of the time. I'm just like, oh yeah, that sucks. Like, I'm sorry. I don't really know exactly what they want to hear if I don't know them very well. You can remind yourself that it isn't your job to fix them. You don't know how to fix them. But you can listen and you can not say anything, and I'm sure that your friend would appreciate it. You know, there is no pressure to be anything. There really isn't. If you say something that you look back and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, chances are the person's not even thinking about that. I mean, they're going through something. They're probably not thinking about, you know, what someone said that offended them. And your friend's gonna know if you're not being yourself. You know, they're gonna know if you're trying. So just don't try. You know, just be their friend. Be their friend as if things were, you know, just kind of normal. You know, if you've supported any of your friends through any issue, whether it was something little like, you know, some drama or like they broke up with someone, whatever, if you've ever supported anybody in anything, you can support them with bigger things. You really can. I mean, it's not like a really complicated math problem that anybody has to solve.